Thank you for having me. This has been a long journey on all these projects and all these activities. And Work Package 2 has been assigned for the Logistika Keskus to be led. But Work Package 2 also holds all the members and participants of the project in the work package. So it is a joint effort, and all the content that we have gathered and all the knowledge that we have is of all the partners constantly having been around and having been contributing to the work package 2. So the work package 2 consists of ECMR readiness, understanding and implementation roadmap. We assigned that around not just ECMR, but also EFTI, looking them in parallel. This attachment is not possible for these two. There is the side reports that we have evolved are also CMR, and our work, as we are the east part of European Union, the north part and east part, and we have borders towards outside, and CMRs run across EU borders. We have addressed as well the affair of how this cross-border ECMR would work. That was the main aim of having that study as well. And then the second part was and is the preparation and adaptation of the Memorandum of Understanding, which we signed. We even signed that especially to strengthen the work between our partners during the time that the project was open last spring, when we were in the middle of actually initiating the project and then rerun and reorganizations. So we needed that MOU and the cooperation network running especially. So this was also one of the side positive effects of the expectation of this project still getting onboarded or still getting in act, was that we still had our weekly meetings with the community around the project, and we still did the background work during spring and summer last year, signed the MOU between the partners, the associations and the businesses. The governments had their own MOU in preparation that was signed or endorsed in October. So we have two MOUs that we base, and we very strictly said we'd like to go for the financing, we'd like to go for further collaboration, we'd like to learn and also have a greater impact on the European Union level on the learnings that we have. Not necessarily that we have to enlarge our all the activities, but reflect and endorse. And the third activity in that project, Work Package 2, is aiming for further funding. So this is preparation of financing applications, and two of them we have successfully completed as applications. One for the Interreg and the other one for CEF, which we will concentrate in the next block during our today's event. And both have a further outreach wider than the original partners of that project. So it's a continuation, and we're still in negotiation of stepping or at least initiating during this project another two of possible proposals that would be as of like end cherry, saying that we have actually opened two new negotiations, so can put these as well as successful journeys. Like I said earlier, it is quite tough to get people on board to engage to a project. If they engage and then eventually we get the submission, then that's also a major achievement when we have an ambition of, yes, let's do it, and some engagement is being done. For the studies, we have taken time to see how to build them up, and we have used the regular, if analysis in such scale and feasibility and readiness is being analyzed, then PESTEL analysis has been always a very good baseline. And with academic colleagues and consultations with the university team that we have available, we evolved it. We played them a little bit around. So Pesto evolved into less step, adding as well interoperability layer, which is the key layer in the European interoperability framework, and adding keywords for our region on financials, because for ECMR and EFTI roadmap planning and also the readiness, we wanted to underline and understand what are exactly the financing schemes and then the financing measures, not just economic components. What is the branding and marketing aspects, because that's something that goes out especially and that is maybe helpful to know. And side components, maybe they should be of different color. This is how we played these components around. So this is our methodology, not taken from somewhere. Our uses and process, which is very often the enablers that take us to the stakeholder journey. And the key arguments that we're searching for, this is played around, but still anyhow. What are the legal conditions? And we see that we are actually ready as much as we just need the implementing act to be there to actually make the changes. But all the legislation in all these member states has been mapped. Also, thanks to that, this legislation was needed to be mapped for the European Commission for preparing the EFTI. For the ECMR, we have an understanding for what is going on the UNEC level. So we have that as a baseline as well. And for these changes, we need to wait until there are further suggestions coming up from the UNEC. But they'd be finalizing as well rather soon during this summer. So we are already knowing what the architecture outline would be. Then the economic effect and the understanding of how much benefits FT and ECMR use would bring. We're wishing to place quite many placeholders, but there have been made quite a few of studies as well in the region outlining what the benefits would be. So we've been bringing out these hints and links. What we didn't do during this study was a comprehensive run of a separate study. This is something that should be done in the next other project phase or in a separate project of the actual economic volumes of the whole region on CMRs and then on FD data, and of actual operations and then the cost effect. So this still was not in the scope of this scale, but we put placeholders for that further study with our work. Stakeholder positions is the next group. All of our stakeholders, you see, are not hesitant, but still a bit careful in jumping in, but not anymore rejecting. There are a few who say critically that some of the elements of FT could be or couldn't be implemented in a way that is discussed, but as the implementing act is not closed, then as well there's an open positive discussion currently taking place in all of our countries. The only difference is just that the different member states' authorities perhaps have different streams of cooperation between each other, but we have currently mapped that this is still a very helpful matter, that we have the EFTI layer behind, because this is also organizing the ECMR. The ECMR itself wouldn't start organizing that easily. So that's our baseline. And we also see that we cannot effectively implement ECMR unless EFTI is enabling the additional tools of control. Information architecture, we'll come back to the FT architecture and we'll show this for a few times today more. And nationally, we see that we are actually rather similar to each other. So there are not two different approaches. Two options are available, either have more central or less central approach, but that's what what we can say is that we can actually learn from each other, and we're not that different in e-governmental structures either. We also want to highlight sustainability goals. That's a new modern word. It's green transition and all these aspects. But we do see, and all of the stakeholders do see the sustainability and environmental aspects in ECMR and EEFTI. And of course, we're talking about how many trees we can save, but this is just one layer. Obviously, that is an effect, but there's so much digital capacities and wins that can be achieved. New policy measures. Do we need any more strategies? Do we need more support works or documents beyond legislation? Normally, policy is initiating it, but now we see that we need more strategies when the implementing acts are there. And financing measures, as already said, and marketing and awareness. And on our roadmap, this is a visualization of an actual journey that we need to take until the implementing act for authorities is out. We were hoping that to happen during late summer, so we're in it. We are doing the authority process alignment, the systems requirements. We do the private project financing activities. When the implementing act is there, we need to start with the result transfer and EU level and BSR level and project level alignment on all these technical specifications, adjust them, see if there are any gaps, and reflect them at stakeholder level immediately. And after that, I'd say next year, we have to go into deep economic analysis of all these benefits to see these are the processes, these are the IT systems. When we know exactly the process, we can actually put it in place, saying this is how much each and every individual company group would win, not necessarily company, but and then evolve the authority systems requirements, hopefully with the help of further projects. Then we'd have the requirements and processes modified. Originally, we were expecting that this would happen at the end of 2023. Maybe that's something that will shift into spring, but we try to push at least as much as we can, knowing the requirements. And then we'll have the FT platforms and service providers requirements on this turn. We're hoping them for December 2023. Let's see if that happens. This is a miracle vision dream. But if we push too hard, we'd at least know the content of them to rather high detail by the end of this year. We continue with the result transfer. We continue with then only the transition to national legislation alignment, initiate and then speed up further our projects and pilots that we're having, and then start building the authority systems. That would be end of 2024, that we should have things in process, at least procurements made, plans made. In 2025 is the implementation period. And this is completed within the project, this roadmap illustration, but there's a document also behind it in March, April. So this was when it was finalized. But still, we already knew that that we're not going to have FT in place or all the implementing acts in effect in August 2025. So we expect all of this to be in effect end of 2025. We'll now have a few more months maybe on top, we will know. Stakeholder engagement map is as well, I think it is too gray. I should highlight the colors more deeply, but these are there. And free reports are in finalization stage. We were dependent and are still dependent on the final content of the implementing acts to have the final details outlined as well for each and every member state's positions towards the FT architecture and towards all of what they seem to be needing to be done. But either way, we'd be publishing them, and all of these reports, the CMR and FT explanatory the readiness and also the FT and CMR beyond the EU borders will be the reports that everyone can read when they're completed and published after all this publishing process is finished. Hopefully in end of summer maximum. Well, the end of summer is maximum, but we can have all of this also in a distributed way as well. End of project is sooner. And ready for FT is the continuation that goes on, the MOU, even when the project finishes. That's the baseline. That's it.